Hello, so we're going to be studying Babylon the Great, the poem by Christina Rossetti today. And the LO is to consider how religion is presented in Rossetti's poem. So please make sure you have the poem in front of you, as well as any contextual notes that you wish to add to or refer to within this lesson. So the entry task today is a little tricky. It depends what you've done in RE over the last 5-6 years. Or have just learned about, it might be one of those general knowledge things that you know. So what do you know about the Whore of Babylon or Babylon the Great? It can be known as either name. Now, I've given a picture there. I mean, obviously it's not a photo that might help you. But just have a think. If you've ever heard of that phrase, what exactly or who exactly is it and what are they known for? Have a little think. So the poem then, Babylon the Great. Foul is she and ill-favoured, set askew. Gaze not upon her till thou dream her fair, lest she should mesh thee in her wanton hair. Adept in arts grown old yet ever new, her heart lusts not for love but through and through for blood. As spotted panther lusts in lair, no wine is in her cup, but filth is there, unutterable. With plagues hid out of view, gaze not upon her, for her dancing whirl turns giddy the fixed gazer presently. Gaze not upon her, lest thou be as she when, at the far end of her long desire, her scarlet vest and gold and gem and pearl, and she amid her pomp are set on fire. Well, I personally think she sounds great, but yeah, what do you think the general idea of the poem is? What is the speaker expressing? I mean, obviously, we know Rossetti had strong religious views and views on women, so do have a think about those in terms of the context. How can they link into this poem? What is it basically about, and what is the form, of course? So you might want to count how many lines there are. So a summary then. So this is an unusual poem for Rossetti. It's an allegory that refers to the Book of Revelation 17:5, in which the whore of Babylon, otherwise known as Babylon the Great, and the mother of prostitutes appear as a terrible representation of evil. The image of sin is clearly very real to the speaker, and no doubt to the Victorian audience who would have read it. The poem describes her in vivid detail. Rossetti uses the Petrarchan sonnet form, which is usually and traditionally used for love poetry. It is significant that the sexually dangerous whore is a woman, the gender associated throughout Christian history as the root of sin. Rossetti's religious beliefs led her to portray this according to her biblical source. So it's important to point out that Rossetti doesn't make her a woman in the Bible. The source, the root of all sin, etc., is a woman anyway. So she does it based on that. Foul is she and ill-favoured set askew. So you've got the adjective foul starting off the poem. It's hard-hitting, it's with the fricative F, and it's an ominous opening. To start a poem with the word foul, it's not then going to turn around to be, oh, let's talk about fairies and happy things. It's not a great start in terms of it's not going to be good content. So actually an ill-favoured, set askew. So if you're set askew, it could refer to her sinfulness that distorts her being. If you're askew, you're not quite straight on. So those people where, I don't know, they put all their pencils in a line and then you just knock one of them. You're setting something askew. Something, the balance isn't quite there. It's not as good. It's not as pure. So that's kind of what it's implying. She's not got this goodness and pureness about her. Gaze not upon her till thou dream her fair. So the gaze, the imperative verb gaze, has erotic connotations. It's almost like a sexual hypnosis. It's not the word look. It's gaze upon her. Oh, gaze not upon her. Sorry. And then you've got this bit in blue. So gaze not upon her till thou dream her fair, lest she should mesh thee in her wanton hair, adept in arts grown old yet ever new. So the narrator is addressing the reader with a really dire warning. The whore is subtle enough to be perceived as fair by those who gaze upon her. The theme continues. There are other entrapments, notably wanton hair, hair being an erotic trigger, and mesh signifying a trap. So, she's not out and out she doesn't look evil, doesn't look awful straight away, um, because you could think she's beautiful. But if you do look on her, you could get trapped in the beauty of her hair, um, her erotic triggering hair. That kind of idea is what's being expressed there. And then the pink arts grow old yet ever new. It represents this seduction, the art that existed as long as humans have lived, yet forever finding new ways to attract a victim. Um, I mean, seduction has gone on since the dawn of time. Without seduction, you wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be here, etc. Um, but the techniques of finding people have changed. Back in the day, it was, write a love letter and show a little ankle. Now it's, Tinder and God knows what else. But in this case, it's, she's having to find new ways. There's always a new way for her to attract a victim. Her heart lusts not for love, but through and through for blood, as spotted panther lusts in lair. So this depiction of evil moves from human to animal. The spotted panther is one of the fastest animals alive and is a dangerous hunter. So the adjective spotted can be taken literally because it has an archaic meaning of sinful. So she's, very quick to find a victim, I suppose you could say. No wine is in her cup, but filth is there, unutterable, with plagues hid out of view. So the descriptions become even more repulsive as the poem progresses, with filth instead of wine in her cup, and this sinister hidden plagues that are, we don't know where they are, but there are plagues about. And note the enjambment throughout this that line. Again, it's just the awfulness is ever never ending. Sorry, with this woman. Gaze not upon her, for her dancing whirl turns giddy the fixed gazer presently. Gaze not upon her, lest thou be as she, when, at the far end of her long desire, a scarlet vest and gold and gem and pearl, and she amid her pomp are set on fire. So you've got gaze not upon her is repeated twice in this sestet, and it's an exhortation to be aware of this prostitute's power and the temptation and ruin she represents. It's a really strong warning. Just do not look at her, do not gaze upon her, because she'll get you, kind of thing. And then you've got at the far end of her long desire. So her powers of seduction are ongoing, a sin from which one can't escape. So once you've been seduced, you that's it for you. That's it. She won't give up. Her scarlet vest, so red, scarlet is the colour red, and it's traditionally associated with prostitution. If you think like Curly's wife, she always had the red nails and red lips, etc. In this, the scarlet vest, red is just usually associated with danger or sexual promiscuity or prostitution, that kind of idea. And then gold and gems and pearls, the riches mean nothing to those caught in her power. Because once you're with this prostitute, it doesn't matter how rich you are, you have massively sinned. And she, amid her pomp, are set on fire. So despite her pomp, her impressiveness, there is nothing for those who succumb but immolation. So essentially, no matter what happens, if she gets you, you're going to end up sacrificing yourself or killing yourself because you will have so badly sinned by being with this sinful woman that there's nothing left for you, nothing worth living for, because there's no coming back for you. If you enjoyed this poem, because it is quite a nice poem actually, you might want to have a look at the website on the slide. It's a quick revision resource just to have a look, see some different analysis that you might want to use. And there's a little bit on the internet, but again, not masses on this one, because the plot, I suppose, the summary of it, I guess, is so clear. And when you Google things like Babylon the Great, you end up with pages and pages of just stuff about what Babylon the Great is. It might be worth, for your contextual information, to add notes to who and what Babylon the Great was. That would be helpful. But in terms of the poem, I'd suggest looking at this website on the slide first, and then potentially looking elsewhere if you need to. And then, yeah, the last thing I would like you to do is make sure you have all of your notes on your A3 grids, just to ensure that everything is correct and present.